Frozen Genesis. They said the Arctic was dying, but when I arrived, it didn't feel like death. It felt like something was waking up. The air was too still, the horizon too white, as if the world was holding its breath. I'd been sent there to measure ice loss, to chart another piece of the planet's slow collapse, but the instruments told a different story. Beneath the permafrost, something was pulsing, a low, rhythmic hum. At first, I thought it was interference. Then the frequency began to repeat, structured, almost deliberate. An electromagnetic pattern layered with faint echoes, like a heartbeat buried under centuries of ice. That night, in the station, I stayed behind while the others slept. The signal monitor blinked red again. Faint, then strong. Headphones on. Static. Silence. Then a whisper. Aiden. I froze. The voice was not coming through the speaker. It was inside my skull, resonating through bone. My name, spoken by something buried miles below. The signal cut off. Only the wind remained, rattling the metal walls like dry bones. I ran the data again. The waveform wasn't random. It was a pattern, repeating every 88 seconds. A code. No, a message. I didn't sleep that night. When dawn came, the sky burned violet over the ice field. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of what we might find beneath. I was afraid of what might find us.
We called it Project Aurora, an ambitious name for a desperate mission, to study the ice melt, to slow the inevitable. But everyone on the team knew that wasn't why we were really there. We were chasing the signal. Our base stood at the edge of the polar trench, a wound in the earth, black and silent. Beneath that frozen skin, satellites had detected unnatural geometric structures. Straight lines, perfect angles, things that didn't belong in nature. Dr. Mira Voss led the data scans, her fingers trembling slightly as the feed came in. She tried to sound calm. "Probably tectonic," she said, but her eyes betrayed her. They were fixed on the monitor, wide, almost afraid. The drones we sent under the ice didn't last long. Their cameras blurred, sensors overloaded. One of them, Unit 9, sent back a final image before it shut down. A glimmering wall, curved and metallic, pulsing with light. Not ice, not rock, something else. We lost contact 3 hours later. The signal we'd been tracking went silent. Then, faintly, another one appeared, deeper, lower, as if answering us. The next morning we went out on foot. The air temperature had dropped 20 degrees overnight, though every forecast said it should have risen. The ice beneath our boots trembled, just slightly, like a sleeping thing shifting under its blanket. Then came the sound. A slow, hollow thud, rhythmic, measured. It wasn't wind, it wasn't machinery. It was alive. "Do you hear that?" I asked. Mira nodded, pale as the snow. It's coming from under us." We set up seismic mics. The reading spiked, steady, organic, almost like breathing. Then one of our field techs, Johan, shouted from the ridge. He'd found something. A fracture in the ice, wide enough to crawl through. He went down first, laughing nervously. I still remember his voice echoing back, "It's warm down here!" And then, silence. We waited. We called his name. No answer. Only the slow rumble beneath the glacier, deep and resonant, as if the earth itself had swallowed him whole. That night, I replayed the seismic data. In the middle of the waveform, a heartbeat. But this time, there were two.
I didn't sleep for days after Johann vanished. No trace of him. No footprints, no equipment. Just that fracture in the ice, now sealed as if it had never existed. The others started to whisper. Some wanted to leave. Mira said we should report it, but I couldn't. Something deep inside told me that if we left now, we'd never know what we'd truly found. The signal returned on the fourth night. Same frequency, but now it carried shape. Not just hums and static, tones, layered like a voice trying to form words. I amplified the feed, isolating the upper range, and then it spoke. Aiden. I stopped breathing. The voice was clear, female, soft but commanding. I looked around, but everyone else was asleep. It wasn't coming from the speakers this time. It was inside me. "You opened the gate," it said. I whispered back, my throat dry. "Who are you?" Silence. Then, "The one who remembers." I wanted to pull off the headset, to shut it down, but I couldn't move. The voice filled my head with images, cold corridors of crystal, structures glowing with faint light, a city buried beneath oceans of ice, and in the center, something vast and alive. When I finally came to, it was morning. The monitors were dead, the generator frozen. Mira was standing at the doorway, staring at me. "Were you talking to someone?" she asked. I lied. Just calibrating the signal. But she didn't believe me. She'd seen the waveform spike, the same pattern as before, only now it mirrored human brain activity. The signal wasn't just broadcasting, it was listening back. That afternoon, a black transport appeared on the horizon, unmarked, government issue. 3 men in frost suits stepped out, their helmets reflecting the dying sun. They didn't introduce themselves. They just said one thing. "Project Aurora is terminated. Pack your things." That night, I heard the voice again, closer this time, whispering through the static of my own thoughts. "They will silence you, Aiden, but we are not done." And somewhere deep beneath us, the ice began to crack.
We were ordered to leave. But some things, once seen, refused to let you go. That night, while the officials slept in their warm transport, Mira and I went back to the trench. The aurora above us rippled in violent green, like veins of light tearing across the sky. It wasn't natural. Every time the lights pulsed, the signal below us echoed back, stronger, as if the sky and the ice were speaking the same language. We carried one drone, the last one still functional. Its name was Helios. I remember Mira whispering, "If it dies too, we go home." I nodded, but I knew neither of us meant it. We lowered the drone into the fissure, its lights cutting through the frozen blue. For a while, all we saw was ice, layers upon layers, ancient and silent. Then, a reflection. Not from the drone's light, but from something below. "Zoom in," I said. The feed adjusted, and there it was. Walls, smooth and metallic, patterned with perfect hexagons, stretching beyond the camera's reach. A structure. A city. Mira's voice cracked. "That's impossible." "Everything about this place is," I said. Helios moved deeper. The temperature dropped, but the readings showed heat signatures ahead, faint but alive. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely speak. And then the drone's lights flickered. Once, twice,
and the feed erupted in blinding white. For a moment, I thought it had malfunctioned. But as the glare subsided, the image cleared, and we saw it. An immense dome, half buried in ice, covered in translucent veins that pulsed with light, slow, rhythmic, like a sleeping heart. And within that dome, shadows moved. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Mira stepped back, whispering, "Are those?" "I don't know," I said. "Record everything." Then the drone's signal cut out. A piercing tone filled the headphones, sharp, like metal twisting. And through that sound, a voice, faint but unmistakable. "Welcome back." The ice beneath us shuddered. The fissure widened, groaning like a beast in pain. I grabbed Mira's hand as the ground split open at our feet, and from the darkness below, a column of blue light erupted into the night. The officials ran from their camp. The sky turned red. And in the chaos, I realized something horrifying. The city wasn't buried. It was sealed. And now, we had opened it.
For hours, the light from the fissure burned against the night sky, a column of blue fire, alive and humming, as if the earth itself had exhaled for the first time in centuries. The temperature dropped to impossible levels. Our equipment froze solid within minutes. And yet, the air felt charged, alive with static, like the air before a storm. Then, it began. Figures moved through the light, not silhouettes, not shadows, but forms made of the same luminous material as the dome itself. They weren't walking, they were forming, rising from the ice like memories taking shape. Mira whispered, "My God." But even she knew God had nothing to do with this. The first one to emerge stood completely still. Its body shimmered, translucent, the faint outline of bones beneath a skin of liquid light. Its eyes opened, glowing white, cold and empty, and yet somehow aware. Then came the others. Dozens of them, each different, some tall, some thin, their movements fluid, deliberate, like creatures that had never forgotten what stillness meant. One of them stepped forward, and when it spoke, the sound wasn't heard through the ears. It vibrated inside me. Aiden Cross. My name again, spoken in the same voice I'd heard in my head. Elyra. Her form solidified as she approached, a woman-shaped silhouette of crystalline light, her features faint, but unmistakably human. And when her hand touched the ice before me, it melted, revealing warmth beneath. "You came," her voice echoing without sound. I tried to speak, but words felt useless in that air. "What are you?" I managed. Her head tilted slightly. Not what, when. Behind her the others stirred, their gaze fixed on us like ancient judges waking from a long trial. Mira raised her scanner. The readings went off the scale, spiking into chaos. "Energy output, it's biological," she gasped. "They're alive." Elyra turned toward her. Alive is a word for the surface. We are the pulse beneath it. Before I could respond, the ground convulsed, the fissure widened, and from deep below, an ocean of light began to surge upward. A wave of energy so strong it made the air scream. Elyra reached out to me, her voice sharp now, almost desperate. "You've broken the seal. It cannot be undone." Then, darkness. When I opened my eyes, the light was gone. The others had vanished. Only the sound remained, a deep, rhythmic vibration echoing through the ground. It wasn't random. It was a countdown. When I woke, The world was burning white. The sky above the Arctic shimmered like fractured glass, and the air, it hummed, low and deep, like a dying engine. Our camp was gone. No tents, no instruments, only frost-covered ruins and the metallic taste of ozone in the air. I found Mira half buried under a slab of cracked ice. She was alive, shaking, eyes wide with terror. "They're coming back," she whispered. "Not the aliens, the military." And she was right. Through the blizzard, dark silhouettes approached. Helicopters, drones, mechanized suits crawling across the ice like insects. Above them, the insignia of the Global Command. They had come to claim what they couldn't understand. By the time they reached us, the light fissure had sealed again, leaving only a thin scar of blue across the ice. The commander, a man in black armor and mirrored visor, looked down at me and said, "Dr. Cross, you're under containment protocol. Step back from the anomaly." I didn't move. Behind him, their scanners lit up. Something massive was moving beneath the ice, closer, louder, a pulse like a second heartbeat of the earth. And then the ground split. From the fracture rose a sphere of pure energy, hovering silently, reflecting their own faces back at them. The soldiers opened fire. The bullets never reached. They disintegrated mid-air. The sound warped. Time itself bent. From within the light, a shape emerged, Elyra. But she wasn't alone. Dozens of others appeared beside her, their forms flickering between human and something ancient. The commander yelled, "Fire!" The sky erupted. Flames, plasma, sonic bursts. The ice shattered, waves of light scattering across the white wasteland. But Elyra didn't flinch. She raised her hand, and every weapon froze mid-air, not stopped, paused. Time itself bowed to her will. She turned to me. Her voice wasn't a whisper anymore. It was everywhere. "You call us intruders, but it was your kind who buried us here." The soldiers dropped to their knees, their minds overwhelmed by the frequency. Mira grabbed my arm, shouting over the noise, "She's using you! You don't see it! She's rewriting the field!" But I did see it. The ice beneath us wasn't melting, it was reversing. Reality folding like paper around a singular point. Elyra reached toward me again. "We are not your enemy, Aiden. We are what you were meant to become." And in that instant, I felt it. Her memories flooded through me. Frozen worlds, dying suns, a civilization fleeing extinction, finding refuge beneath Earth's glaciers. I staggered back. She stepped closer. "Choose, Aiden. Their fear or our truth." The ground shook violently, helicopters crashing, ice collapsing into the abyss, and through the chaos, Mira screamed my name, while Elyra whispered something else, a single word that made my blood freeze. Rebirth.
Silence. Not the kind that comes from peace, but the kind that follows ending. I couldn't tell if I was awake or dreaming. The cold wasn't biting anymore. It was inside me, flowing through my veins like a second bloodstream of frost. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't on the surface anymore. I was beneath it, suspended in translucent blue, surrounded by shifting light and faint whispers that weren't words, but thoughts echoing through a vast, liquid mind. Elyra's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "Do you feel it now, the fracture within?" I don't understand," I whispered, but the sound didn't leave my mouth. It existed only in thought. "You are caught between frequencies," she said softly. "Human flesh remembers heat, but your mind remembers the frost." Images began to flicker before me. cities of glass buried beneath oceans of ice, pillars of energy stretching into the stars, and then the collapse. A dying world. Their world. Elyra appeared beside me, her form solid now, pale light pulsing through her chest like a heartbeat. We came here long before your history began. We sought refuge, not conquest. The earth was young then, its oceans pure, its ice eternal. We slept beneath it until your species began to dig too deep. I saw it. The drills, the explosions, the arrogance of discovery masked as progress. We woke them up. And in that moment I realized something unbearable. The signal that called me north, the frequency I'd been hearing my whole life, it wasn't random. It was a key, a genetic resonance. Mira's voice echoed somewhere in the distance, faint, breaking through static. "Aiden, don't let her inside. They're rewriting you." But it was already too late. The light around me grew brighter, and I felt my heart sinking to a rhythm that wasn't mine. Elyra reached out her hand. "You are the bridge, Aiden, the echo between two worlds. Through you, both will either heal or vanish." Her touch burned like ice. Memories, sensations, centuries flooding into me. I saw the moment her kind froze themselves willingly, locking their consciousness into the planet's magnetic core. They didn't die. They became the ice. The revelation shattered something inside me. The ice wasn't just nature. It was alive. And now, through me, it was waking. The last thing I remember before the world fractured again was Elyra's final whisper, calm, inevitable. "Once you remember who you were, there will be no going back." Then, light collapsed into darkness, and for the first time, I heard my own voice speaking in two tones, one human, one not.
When I opened my eyes again, the world had changed its sound. No more wind, no more heartbeat, only a deep, resonant hum, as if the planet itself had begun to breathe. I was lying on a bed of ice, but it wasn't cold. It pulsed beneath me like a living organ, glowing faintly with veins of light. My hand shimmered with the same blue radiance as Elyra's form. And when I exhaled, frost and fire danced together in the air. Mira's voice cracked through the static of my comms. "Aiden, where the hell are you? The ice caps, they're collapsing. Every global system just went offline. Power grids, satellites, everything, dead." Her words trembled with panic. But beneath her fear, I could hear something else, disbelief. Because the world wasn't just dying, it was resetting. I stood, watching as waves of light rippled through the Arctic plain. Each pulse spread faster than the last, igniting the ice into radiant crystal. The horizon glowed with auroras shaped like beating hearts. And in the distance, Elyra stood upon the fissure, her body merged with the core of light itself. "The rebirth protocol has begun. Every cell of this planet remembers what it was before it was broken." I tried to speak, but my voice echoed in two layers again, human and something else. "Elyra, you're killing millions." Her gaze met mine, calm, unflinching. "Death is a word for what forgets. We are not destroying, we are remembering." Suddenly, my mind flooded with images, people across the globe staring at the sky as it split into ribbons of light, oceans boiling, cities flickering like candle flames, machines shutting down, magnetic fields reversing. The planet was rewriting itself, erasing centuries in seconds. Mira's voice grew desperate. Aiden, listen to me. If she completes the protocol, humanity won't survive. But deep down, part of me knew humanity wasn't meant to survive in its current form. Something older was calling, something that existed long before us. Elyra extended her hand. You are the bridge. The final pulse depends on you. I'm not your weapon. But the air around us trembled as our energies intertwined, a vortex of blue and silver fire spiraling into the heavens. She looked almost sorrowful now. You think this is about control. It's about return. Then the world convulsed. The fissure split wide open, releasing a storm of blinding light. And through the chaos, I saw visions, oceans rising, forests regrowing in seconds, humans falling to their knees as the sky bled white. I felt every heartbeat on earth, every scream, every breath, every soul flickering out or transforming. And through it all, Elyra's voice echoed in my skull. Once the field awakens, there is no separation. Only the original pulse. Then everything exploded, not in fire, but in silence. An endless, soundless burst of light that stretched across the atmosphere, wrapping the planet in its frozen embrace. The last thing I saw was Mira's face on my shattered comm screen, eyes wide with horror, whispering my name as the transmission died. Then, stillness, pure and absolute.
There was no sky, no ground, only light, spreading endlessly, breathing in patterns that felt like memory itself. I floated inside that silence, half human, half something else, every thought echoing twice, once with fear, once with understanding. Time had lost its edges, seconds melted into centuries, and somewhere in that infinite white, I heard her voice again. Aiden! Elyra's form emerged from the brilliance, no longer a figure of light, but almost human now, as if she'd taken form from the fragments of my own mind. The field is complete, she said softly. The old world is gone. The pulse awaits your choice. Below us, the earth shimmered like a sleeping giant, half of it frozen in crystal, the other half glowing with new life, forests made of light, oceans breathing clouds of energy, and in between them, the remnants of humankind, wandering like ghosts among the ruins of their machines. I saw Mira, alive, her body weak, but her will unbroken. She was helping others, guiding them through the frost. Even now, even after everything, she still believed. Elyra's gaze followed mine. Your people remember how to build, but they have forgotten why. Maybe that's what makes them human, I said quietly. They keep building, even from ashes. She tilted her head, as though studying a strange and fragile creature. They will not survive this world. Then teach them, I whispered. Don't erase them. For a moment, silence. Then she stepped closer, her eyes shimmering with the light of 1,000 frozen stars. You are not human anymore, Aiden. Your pulse can restart the core or end it forever. Choose. The hum around us deepened, a vibration so powerful it felt like the heartbeat of creation itself. Every nerve in my body screamed with the weight of it. I closed my eyes, and I saw both futures. In one, the world drowned in light,
perfect, silent, unchanging. No hunger, no pain, but no freedom either. In the other, chaos, struggle, rebirth. Humans stumbling, learning, failing, loving. A world imperfect, but alive. When I opened my eyes again, tears, or maybe frost, streaked down my face. I remember who I am, I said. Not your echo, not your bridge. Just Aiden Cross, a man who still believes in imperfection. Elyra looked at me for a long time, and for the first time I saw something almost human in her. Sorrow. Then let it be your pulse that ends ours. I reached out, placed my hand against her chest, and for one fleeting second our heartbeats aligned. Then I released the energy. The light shattered, not with violence, but with grace. The sky folded back into color, the ice dissolved into rivers, and the world exhaled, as if waking from a dream too long held. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing alone in the melting snow. The fissure was gone. Elyra was gone. Only the echo of her voice lingered, soft, eternal. The frost remembers you. I looked up. The aurora burned gently above, and in its light I saw movement, people rebuilding, fires flickering, life returning. And beneath the ground, somewhere deep within the ice, a faint heartbeat continued to hum. Not an ending, not a beginning, just the pulse.